Howdy, folks. I'm Black Dragon, and welcome to my channel, Black Dragon Biker TV. And as always, I'd like to thank you all for tuning in from wherever it is that you happen to be in the world. We are extremely thankful to you all for almost 10,500 subscribers in the last month and a half here on Facebook. And also for our YouTube family, we are now back up and posting regularly on YouTube after we've taken kind of a break to build up our Facebook following as our triumphant return to Facebook. So to let you know what's going on here on the Facebook channel briefly, Black Dragon Biker TV here on Facebook, we've added 2 writers, Biker Trash and Merlin. As you guys know, Merlin's been with me for a while as my executive producer. So these guys have come to this channel. Biker Trash is an outlaw biker, of course, and he's writing from that perspective. Merlin is doing the things that he does. And then we're also looking for writers. If you have a penchant for writing biker stories and that sort of thing, we're looking for some really good writers to add to this channel to do stories and things like that, and also to bikerliberty.com. So if you ever wanted to get your writing thing on and write biker stuff and biker stories, we're definitely looking to, and biker news, we're definitely looking to go to the next level with that. And so thought I'd put that out there for some of you guys. Drop me an inbox at either here on Black Dragon Biker TV or Black Dragon at blacksabbathmc.com, which is my email address. Black Dragon at blacksabbathmc.com. There's 2 B's in Sabbath, and we'd love to get some more writers and some more participants. And you know what we do, we talk about MC protocol, and we talk about MC life and MC giving and all that sort of thing. You don't have to be a 99%er. You can, it doesn't matter. I've come to find out everybody's watching, so everybody can definitely participate if you want to. I take guest writers all the time. I have a piece coming up from Miklo, 1%er. I think you guys would be really interested in what he has to say about the patch police and the new era. So we got some really cool things coming up with those folks, and just looking to better this platform as we are reaching right now about 1.4 million people a week on the Facebook channel alone. And the YouTube channel, as you guys know, 40-some thousand, almost 40,000 subscribers. And we have almost 7 million lifetime downloads or views on that channel. So that's what's going on there. It's good to see you guys as always. I'm always jumping on you guys about this or that. And as a person that's supposed to be teaching and providing dialogue, if you have a parent that's always jumping on you and never giving you praise, or if you have a person that's always jumping on you but never telling you the right way to do things, then, kind of what good is that? You're always complaining, but you don't have anything positive to add, or you're not telling me how to do it correctly. So I wanted to use this. We've been talking a lot about the Sergeant at Arms, and those videos are getting a lot of play. In fact, the video that we did a few days ago on You're Not Ready to Be Sergeant at Arms of This Motorcycle Club, that video did 15,000 views in one afternoon. So we know we've hit an area that people want to know about by the number of views that go on to it. So I figured I would talk to you more about that with this video, to kind of continue on that line of speaking, on that line of education and information. What's up, Damaged Souls? Good to see you guys. Shout out from Day Bay. Good to see you, Nick Strong. Good to see Dave Boy on the channel. So it dawned on me that I jump on you guys a lot about what you're not doing. And so perhaps I could add some clarity about some things that you could be doing. What I say is my opinion. For how I do things, there are 1,000 other ways and 1,000 other people. So, you know, take what I have to say with a, with a jaundiced eye, and do research and come up with what works best for you and your MC. But we're talking about Sergeant at Arms again. We're talking about a highly respected position, not only in the motorcycle club, but in organizations all over the world. As I've said in other videos, you have Sergeant at Arms in every kind of club, organization, legislative body in the world. It's a esteemed position because it's a position of law enforcement within an organization. The United States Navy has something kind of similar called a Master at Arms. I've heard people who have been in the Navy call Sergeant at Arms in motorcycle clubs, call them Master at Arms or Masters at Arms, because the positions are like kind of closely aligned. You would look at a Master at Arms as a person who would, hold the line on the rules and regulations in the Navy like a Sergeant at Arms does it in the motorcycle club and in other organizations. So it's a position of high esteem. It was first a soldier sergeant position that comes from the early fighting systems in early Great Britain. This Sergeant at Arms has a history of being a journeyman fighter. Journeyman being someone that is not a novice, not a beginner, someone who knows the job and does it well. So these soldier sergeants were leaders within their warring communities and within the warring militaries that they were in. And it just goes on and on and on. If you want to know a good history of Sergeant at Arms, check out my book, The Sergeant at Arms Bible. You can get it on Amazon, Kindle, and also from blackdragonsgear.com, where I spent a lot of time talking just about the history of the position and just how much it means historically. That's why you could understand why it is such a respected position that requires so much finesse. Because even if you're in a situation where you're surrounded by a dominant motorcycle club, they will be looking for the Sergeant at Arms even before they look for the president to speak as towards the security of the situation. It's just crazy. So I thought I'd give you some ideas. You're a brand new Sergeant at Arms. You just got started. And I thought I might give you some ideas about the first 60 days in office. Maybe your first 60 days, how you could begin to strengthen your club, strengthen your position within the club, and set the tone for how the club will operate under your tenure as Sergeant at Arms. So I would say the first thing is to know what a Sergeant at Arms is and what a Sergeant at Arms isn't. A Sergeant at Arms is the person who is responsible for not only the security of the club, but also the attitude of the club. Since the Sergeant at Arms is the liaison between the men and the officers, the regular members, full patch brothers, and the officers in the club that run the club, since he's the liaison between the two, then not only is he responsible to make sure that the president's agenda is kept, he's also responsible to make sure the agenda of the club members is kept, because it's a back and forth door in a democratic society. So what a sergeant at arms is not the puppet of the president. I heard a guy tell me the president should be able to choose his sergeant at arms because he needs somebody that's going to protect his back at all times. Well, yeah, that's an idea, and that's how some clubs might do it. I say the sergeant at arms is elected like everybody else. He's going to do his damn job. His job is to protect the president. He's going to do that. He doesn't have to like the president or be in bed with him or swap and spit with him to accept or to protect him like he's supposed to do. He doesn't have to do that. So that's one thing that I kind of disagree with, but that's my ideas. Hold on, my phone is ringing here. Let me turn it off. So I thought I put this thing on vibrate. Oh, I did. It was coming through my headphones. Sorry about that. All right, so that's what the sergeant at arms is not. He is not the do-boy of the president. He is the person who makes sure that all laws are enforced according to the bylaws, and he's the person that makes sure that not only is the club protected security-wise, but he's also responsible for the attitude and the tone and what's that word? Morale. The morale of the club. He can set the morale of the club by making sure that the club is a safe place for all. Okay. So, some of the things that a sergeant at arms might want to do in his first 60 days. One is, I would say, reading them for effect, reading them for understanding, and getting a clarification on just exactly what are the rules that you're supposed to be enforcing. If you're lucky enough to be able to talk to the founders, the people who wrote the bylaws, boy, what a blessing. You can sit down and talk to them about what they meant, about their interpretations, and now you've got a great baseline for following the rules you're supposed to be following. Next thing you could also do is read some books on or look at some videos on conflict resolution. Sergeant at arms is responsible for conflict resolution within the club. So, understanding how to resolve conflict between two arguing parties is essential. If you don't have any particular training in that area, you can get yourself some. Looking at some videos on YouTube, looking at some books, maybe talking to a counselor you might know, talking to a preacher or something. How do you solve conflict between a couple people? Be a good way to get started. Now, another thing is an overview of the security of the clubhouse. How is the clubhouse secured? What are we looking at? How do we do parties? How do we do parking? How do we do checking if people have guns and weapons? See, a sergeant at arms is also responsible to make sure that the club doesn't get sued. I remember we had a clubhouse where a lady stubbed her foot on a rock and sued our insurance for $200,000. And that lawsuit just about shut that chapter down. Something as stupid as an uneven pavement. This is a litigious society. You guys might not think about this, but the people that you let into your clubhouse can be friends and can be foes. You let some cute girl in, she's underage. She knew she was underage when she came there. Something happens to her in the clubhouse, and officers could go to prison. So the sergeant at arms really has to be on his game. Who are we letting in our clubhouse? Is our clubhouse safe? Is the bathroom safe? Is somebody going to dance and stomp on the floor and fall through the building? These are things that go beyond the club. They go beyond the playing around in the club and the coolness of the club. For some people, the club is a plaything. And for those of you especially whose clubs are not incorporated, you find out sometimes the very hard way that when they come sue the club and the club's not incorporated, then they're going straight after the pocketbooks of the officers. That's right, the presidents, the vice presidents, the secretaries, the sergeant at arms, those people that carry those titles, those people are the ones who are in danger of losing their prized possessions, their homes or whatever the case may be. So somebody needs to be checking. You know, if there is a fight in your motorcycle club and a person is standing over there and she gets shot, she has no idea. She was just a civilian off the street. You could be sued for not having the proper security at your clubhouse. So the sergeant at arms needs to know what's going on at all times on the motorcycle set. You need to know who's warring with who, who's fighting with who, who's not getting along with who. Because these things are important, especially if you have a clubhouse and people are coming in. So in my first 60 days as sergeant at arms, I'm going to go out and get to know every motorcycle club in my area, including the 1%ers. And that's always, like I say, the 1,000-pound gorilla in the room, the gorilla that a lot of people are afraid to talk to. But the sergeant at arms cannot be afraid to talk to him, especially if you have 1%ers frequenting your clubhouse. You need to have a good rapport with the sergeants at arms of all the 1%er MCs in your area. A rapport good enough that when you pick up the phone and call, they know who you are. So when trouble occurs, you can make phone calls to sergeant at arms of those clubs and 99%er clubs. You can make phone calls and people know exactly who the hell you are. Hey, we got a problem with one of your members over here. This kind of thing can be invaluable because whenever you wear a patch and you have men around and they have testosterone, you are eventually going to have problems. That's just the way it is, the way of the world. You're going to have problems, and it's going to be good if you can deal with those problems. And you're able to deal with those problems if you have the right contacts and connections. So get on your motorcycle, sergeant at arms, and go visit clubhouses. Get to know the movers and shakers in those clubhouses. Get to know who the sergeants at arms are so that you have a good enough rapport that you can pick up the phone and call a sergeant at arms of any motorcycle club that you need to at any time that you have a problem. See, this is that big boy stuff. This is that big boy sergeant at arms isms that people don't teach you. This is not written in the bylaws. This is the stuff that you don't know. I did a video yesterday called "You Don't Know What You Don't Know" as an officer. You don't know what you don't know because you haven't been through it. Somebody says, as sergeant at arms of my former club, I knew the club constitution inside and out, back and front, and could tell a member what the constitution said without having to take it out of my bike box. But at least he had that sucker on the bike. And I think a sergeant at arms should have a set of bylaws on him at all times, so he can look directly at your butt and say, what, do you need me to break it out? You need me to show it to you in writing? Because I've already told you what it says. Those are the strong sergeant at arms. They can prove it. Yeah, they know the bylaws backwards and forth, or the Constitution, whatever you want to call it. This is part of being that person in charge. Make those contacts. You should have working relationships with every single motorcycle club within your sphere, most especially those that frequent your clubhouse. Most especially those guys you see in your clubhouse. You should absolutely be able to call and talk to those guys at any time. Sergeant at arms needs to have an assessment of what is going on the ground. Your ear needs to be to the ground. You need to know what the motorcycle club area, what's going on in your area, and to some extent what's going on in areas around you. So I'm looking at things like the arrest reports or the news, the biker news. I might be tuning in biker news like Black Dragon Biker News Network, biker news you can trust, or you got Hollywood, HarleyLiberty.com, you got biker trash news, you got 1%er news, you got man, you got so many resources, even local papers and stuff. You can type in biker news for Atlanta, Georgia, and get what's going on, who who had a fight last night, who got shot, who got run over by a motorcycle. Because when you know this information, you can call up a club and say, hey, we heard you had a problem. One of your bikers got killed. Do you need some assistance from us? And you build friends, and you build communication. You build folks say, these guys are all right, man. They were around when we needed them. This is belonging to that set. This is belonging to the community. This is making sure that your motorcycle club has protection and insulation from the inside and the out, from within and from without. From motorcycle clubs that are your allies and motorcycle clubs that you're going to make friends with at a later date and time. Just because you're good folks and you care. Just because you're professional about what you're trying to do and you care about your club. This is where you'll have 1%ers that respect your club. And instead of giving your club hell, they're trying to work with you because they know you guys are professional in the way that you handle your damn business. And this is a lot of times governed by the professionalism of your sergeant at arms and president, vice president. How these guys carry themselves. How they carry themselves is how your MC will be viewed. They are the faces. And a strong sergeant at arms, professional sergeant at arms that has good relationships with motorcycle clubs all around, with the dominant clubs, with the RCs. This is a guy that'll carry your club a long way. He'll keep your club out of shit when shit is blowing up all around you. These are some of the things I would do in my first 60 days. Get to know the problem children in the club. Give everybody a clean slate. Hey, we're starting off with a clean slate here. But I want you to know, I'm not going to tolerate A, B, C, and D. Say what you mean and stand by it. If there's a person that's always been late on their dues, that's something you're not going to tolerate. Hey, I'm the new sergeant at arms. I didn't come in here to start taking patches. You know, I hate that when the brand new sergeant at arms, first day in office, he's taking 10 patches. Well, what is that? Come in. Hey, I'm new to the job. I want you to know I'm very serious about it. And what I'm going to be doing on this job is everything that I can to follow the bylaws. And we've been having problems with you in this situation, that situation. You're going to start with a clean slate with me today, but it's important that you know that clean slate is only going to be clean for as long as you keep it that way. So I don't care about the old folks or whatever they had against you. This is a new day, new sheriff in town. But we ain't a whistling Dixie around here. We're going to do it the right way. So these are things that the sergeant at arms should be doing within the first 60 days. Looking over the bylaws, looking over the security of the club, especially if you have a clubhouse that you throw parties in, you have folks come in all the time. You need to take a whole 360 degree view of the clubhouse security. Do we have the right cameras up? Do we have the right training? You know, you can have a guy get pushy. One of your prospects can get pushy at the door with somebody. I remember a prospect that was searching a guy for a gun when he's coming in the meeting. He kept putting his hand on the guy's penis for whatever reason to search him. His hand brushed across the guy's penis 2 or 3 times. And the guy told the prospect, don't do that again. And he did it again. So the next thing you know, they had a lawsuit for sexual harassment. And, you know, you're like, where the hell did that come from? So it doesn't always come from where you might think it would come from. It's not always some guy that is going to kick your ass and winds up getting beat down at the clubhouse door. No, some of these guys, some of these civilians and stuff, they don't know about that. They don't have any idea about getting down like that, but they will see your ass in court. I remember this one sergeant at arms got tough with this civilian. This girl brought her boyfriend onto the biker set, and that's always interesting when they do that. And the sergeant at arms got in his face and got surrounded by 2 or 3 of the guys, and we're going to kick your effing butt, blah, blah, blah. And I remember that guy said, you know, I don't know how much money you guys have or your motorcycle club, but I can guarantee you that whatever you have, my attorney can get it all. That was a little bit different kind of kind of thing that they weren't ready for. So Sergeant at Arms needs to be up on his game for the things that happen in the MC world and for the things that happen outside of the MC world, because you're not in this, you're not in a vacuum. You exist in the real world, believe it or not. And a lot of these clubs are finding that out when they're looking at their asses on news, and they're looking at their bad deeds all over the news, and they're looking at more and more communities saying, sorry, you can't have a motorcycle clubhouse here. We're seeing more and more no cuts allowed in our establishment signs. That stuff is happening because we're not handling our business as clubs, and a lot of that has to do with Sergeant at Arms not handling their business as Sergeant at Arms. Your first 60 days in office as a Sergeant at Arms should be resetting the club temperature, especially if you've had a volatile election. You've had a election full of subterfuge and BS, and everybody's about sick of one another at this point. This is where a good Sergeant at Arms comes in and says, okay, how do we get the club culture back? How do we get the club attitude back? How do we survive this very tempestuous, not tempestuous, but, oh my goodness. Oh, I don't know that word. It's, tempest. I'm trying to find that kind of a word. But how do we survive this very volatile situation we've been through? How do we get back? How do we get back to doing the things that we used to do as a motorcycle club? Sergeant at Arms has a great deal to do with getting the morale back. So that's what you should be working on in your first 60 days. How to solidify your power, not through fear and intimidation and reprisals and paybacks, but rather strengthening the bonds and the love and the maturity that the motorcycle club is missing. So these are some ideas for you to spend your first 60 days as a newly elected Sergeant at Arms, getting your club to the right level, checking your security, checking your policies, checking and studying your bylaws, strengthening your allies, strengthening your finding new friends, getting new allies, strengthening your ties with the, or if not ties, but definitely strengthening your communication with the dominant 1%er motorcycle clubs and outlaw motorcycle clubs in the area, that you don't have a choice. You got to deal with those clubs. So it's good to deal with them from a level of equal footing and respect than it is to have to deal with them from a level of fear and intimidation, or the first time they see you is when they have a problem with you. It doesn't matter if your chapter ever deals with the 1%ers. They don't have to. But you, the Sergeant at Arms, you do. And often the president does too. All right, so that was my time for that. That's what I have to say. If you have some information or comments, please leave them in the comment section below. We'd love to hear what you have to say. Check us out on bikerliberty.com. That's our news channel. Bikerliberty.com is all of your biker news, Black Dragon Biker News Network, biker news you can trust. You can also get us on our podcast, The Dragon's Lair, Motorcycle Chaos, and all the places where you get podcasts. And also blackdragonsgear.com. Blackdragonsgear.com is where all my books and stuff can be found, and you can get your gear, your Black Dragons gear. Remember, the motorcycle club is about we. It's all about we, not about I. And if you keep that in mind, you can learn how to treat your brothers and sisters like precious pieces of metallic gold. Check us out at Black Dragon Biker TV on YouTube, Black Dragon Biker TV on Facebook, and we are now also on Instagram TV under Black Dragon Biker TV. That's my 2 cents. Out here in the woods, walking up and down these hills, trying to get skinny, get back in shape. It's funny how fast you fall out of shape. That's all I have to say. I'm Black Dragon. Thanks for tuning in, and get skinny.
They ask why I'm single, ain't ready to mingle, ain't ready to mingle. They ask why I'm single, ain't ready to mingle, ain't ready to mingle. They ask why I'm single, ain't ready to mingle, ain't ready to mingle. They ask why I'm single, they ask why, they ask why, they ask why I'm single, ain't ready to mingle, ain't ready to mingle. They ask why I'm single, ain't ready to mingle, ain't ready to mingle. They ask why I'm single, ain't ready to mingle, ain't ready to mingle. They ask why I'm single, ain't ready to mingle, ain't ready to mingle. They ask why I'm single, ain't ready to mingle, ain't ready to mingle.